Looks like it's 1:57, 1:58. As we're sort of warming up here, I see that everyone is logging in. This is awesome. I'm going to try to minimize my screen, but I'm scared that I'm going to lose y'all. Maybe I shouldn't. I'm going to try to paste something on here. I've never done that. Ooh, it worked. That's going to be your next project to do a little reading on for tomorrow. Very nice. See everybody logging in. Great. Can't tell how many are logged in. Oh, wait, 32. Go ahead and give me a thumbs up over here on our YouTube subscribing up here or wherever it is on your screen. Good job. Hit that like button. Okay, fantastic. So it's still only 1:59. Give people enough time here to log in. Oh, the next project, it's right up here. If you look up where it shows Baldwin Beauty Schools, it's a little science, toxicity, household. A lot of these terms, especially for my estheticians and nail technicians, they have a tendency to want to learn a little bit more about different ingredients and such. So it's a great little list, and that's for you to read and go over. Should be in just a little bit early, then that way you've got something to look at and to read over between now and bedtime. Hi, Frida. I see you. This is so cute to see you guys. I think Katie did a great review with y'all yesterday. I copied and pasted I'll copy and paste it again for those of you logging on. Y'all can just jot that down, and you can go to that link later on tonight, do a little bit of reading on that so that you are more educated. Good job. It's 2 o'clock. We're doing good. We've got 47 people right now. Those of you just now logging on, go to the thumbs up and hit that, please, if you can, so that YouTube understands that y'all are benefiting, that you're learning, and they allow us to stay online this way. Perfect. So you'll see, those of you logging on right now, you'll see a link that I've put up in the comment sections, in the section rather, where you can do a little bit of reading on that. Oh, so nice, Marion. Great job. And I will get Katie to send over text pictures of y'all's textbook. We scan them through a scanner, and tonight I'll have her try to upload those to that final list that we all first saw when we first were getting all of this started. Then if y'all are the type that want to do a little bit of reading from your book, that's fine. I can tell you I'm giving you everything that the book would have and everything that you would need to know to be tested on the state board. So you should be in great shape, all of those brand new people who may have a little bit of anxiety going on, which I certainly understand. Okay, I just want to, we're going to start another section of the textbook, but I just want to sort of recap here about yesterday. We have, we talked about flagella, it being a whip-like, slender-like, hairy-like extension that helps bacteria propel and move about in liquids, flagellar cilia. So I just want to recap on that. Mitosis, it has another term for this division. And what is that term? Maybe y'all could put me a little comment there for those of you who maybe weren't here yesterday or in attendance. Maybe y'all could let everybody know, what is that other division called? Another name for the division. Mitosis, the cell division. Y'all remember? Binary what? Perfect. Fission. Good. Fissin. Okay, pus. That's our inflammation, indicating that there's some infection. You have the white blood cells. That's a combination of white blood cells, dead skin cell matter, and bacteria. Those three things. Just giving people a few times to log in, a few minutes to log in. It's 2:03. Y'all are doing good. A local infection can be a boil or a pimple that contains pus. That's known as a local infection. One thing that I want to make sure that y'all know is that contagious is another word for some people where English might be your second language. Communicable also means contagious. Communicable, contagious. So if you want to jot that down, because we kept saying communicable yesterday, and I just want to make sure there were some people that understood that that word also means contagious. Okay, so this coronavirus is contagious and communicable. That'd be an example. And then we talked about parasitic disease, but one other term that I forgot to go over with you was this term right here, pediculosis. Everyone needs to write pediculosis down. Pediculosis is the technical term for lice. Pediculosis also means lice, not an itch mite. So at State Board, I have a feeling that that term will cross your path when you're answering those multiple choice questions. I recommend that you go ahead and jot that down, pediculosis. And that term means lice. Hey, Destiny. All right. Just kind of recapping just a couple of things. So pediculosis capitis, this is our skin disease caused by the infestation of head lice. So capitis meaning head lice. For my hairstylists out there, pediculosis capitis. Some people might leave off this word and just say pediculosis, I have lice. But then some people might say pediculosis capitis, meaning the same thing, it's a head full of lice. And how do we know if lice is present on the hair? That when we run our fingers down the hair shaft, if it sticks to the individual thread like a slender-like piece of hair, then we know it's sticking and adhering to it, and it's not coming off. That's not that is the nits, and that is not dandruff. That is pediculosis capitis. So hopefully y'all got this. Oh, it came up in your written, Aubrey? Cool. I knew it would. I've been doing this too long to know what questions that you're going to be answering. That's why we have to go over this. We have to write all these terms down. We talked about scabies yesterday. Just remember, scabies is not pediculosis. Scabies is the itch mite that burrows into the skin. Most of y'all got that one yesterday just fine. Systemic, a disease that affects the body generally, often due to overfunctioning of our internal glands. So we talked about that one too. I want to make sure we got that. The virus, submicroscopic structures that are capable of infesting almost all plants and animals, including bacteria. Now, blood-borne pathogens, just remember that's in our category of systemic. Blood-borne pathogens, systemic. So in the blood or the lymphatic system, that's going to be our systemic disease. And then I know that it may seem like it's natural to think that a vegetable parasite is mold. And I mean, it's common sense, so to speak. But we might just want to make sure that y'all understand that mold and mildew, they grow in those damp, dark places, having a moldy coating, and that's part of our vegetable parasite from fungi. Okay, so now what I want to do is let's have a little discussion about what we like to see some comments in the comment section, please, on the strawberry article. What was maybe one or two things that maybe piqued your interest, or that maybe just that you sort of understood or found interesting, alarming, those types of things? I can start off by saying that the article talked about some of the outbreaks of hepatitis from the outbreaks that happen with the workers in the fields. There are some other things that you read on that article about the strawberries that was interesting to you. Found in the dirt and soil, exactly. It's very concerning. Okay, that was great, Laura. Americans consume about 8 pounds of strawberries a year. I know that we have them in our fridge quite a bit. We love them. They can be grown pretty much anywhere. Tons of strawberries. I didn't know that you shouldn't wash berries before, storing them, because wet fruit will encourage bacterial surface fungal growth. Wow, yeah, exactly. I didn't either. The link between E. coli and strawberries, I know. How easily it can spread. Germany. Strawberries can be stored up to 7 days depending on the disease pressure. Annabelle, yeah, they're my fave too. They hold E. coli and norovirus. So a lot of times when we see those strawberries and they're looking like they're on the end of their life, and we go ahead and we don't want to waste, and they might look a little bit brown or a little bit muted, we don't realize that we could actually get really sick and get the norovirus or get the flu from them. So it's really important that we wash the fruit as we eat it, that they can be contaminated and transmitted and consumed. Oh yeah, salmonella, Marisol, exactly. The animal poo, I know, I read that, I have that on my notes too. The feces from the animals, and then the birds. Oh, the optimal storage, very good, Lauren, from 0 to 32 degrees. Caused by ruminant animal feces and contaminated water. Washing them and placing them in humid areas for a short period of time can then spread in the fridge. Yes. Outbreaks in 1990 and 97 resulted in a total of 270 illnesses of hepatitis. Yeah, scary. Can grow in the north. Yes. E. coli was even found in the frozen strawberries. I know. The plastic shipping containers, all of that stuff. Y'all did good. I find it interesting too, Miranda. And in Oregon, the strawberries are purchased on the road. Oh yeah, I had that written down too, the roadside. So I found it interesting too that the soft, moldy ones that are white, that we need to avoid those and chunk them, put them away, and then wash our hands. So we are coming into contact with even fruits that we just think are fine, and we're putting it right directly in our mouth. So it's not like it's just a surface that we cleaned, or we're so conscientious about cleaning our floors and our dog bowl dishes and stuff from mold that can be on the lining of their bowls that they're drinking from, our animals. Really important that we not just think about the surfaces, but we also think about foods too. So pretty interesting. Okay, good job on that. All right, so now we're going to go. We talked a little bit about yesterday bacilli, and we know that bacilli is a rod-shaped bacteria shape, produces disease such as tetanus, lockjaw. So let's talk about lockjaw, typhoid fever, tuberculosis, and diphtheria. Sometimes a lot of those are just like, yeah, and we don't really know a lot about them. Well, what we do know about lockjaw is is caused by tetanus, and it's basically these muscle spasms. So you might write down that somebody who's maybe having extreme muscle spasms could be a cause of lockjaw. A lot of pain, very, very painful. And that's why we get these vaccines, tetanus vaccines, to prevent us from enduring this very painful situation. We know that it's a bacterial infection that affects the nervous system, and we know that it can cause actual death. So this is why so many people are vaccinated. I think it's every 10 years. That might be something to research. But I know that I had another tetanus shot not too terribly long ago, but maybe not as many times as I should have. So it's important to make sure that you check and make sure you do have your tetanus shot, so that if you do encounter some kind of injury, through broken skin. Write this down. Let me think of how they say it at State Board. The best line of defense, that's how they say it at State Board. Best line of defense. I think this is the verbiage. Is it with an S? Yeah. Defense from bacteria. Best line of defense from bacteria is unbroken skin. So keeping those invaders from entering the body. I know that's a State Board question. Best line of defense from the bacteria, unbroken skin. And when the skin is broken, that's why so many people say, put a Band-Aid on it, cover it, keep it away from additional bacteria that can invade the body. So very important there. Typhoid fever. If you're interested in typhoid fever, it won't be on your State Board what typhoid fever or lockjaw is. But again, this is part of the bacilli family of bacteria. Typhoid fever, you get red spots all over the chest and the abdomen. Very painful, and it's a intestinal infection. Diphtheria, very, very painful. Keeps you from breathing and getting inflammation in your swallowing and your breathing capabilities. And it becomes very toxic in the bloodstream. So it kind of makes me wonder if the coronavirus could be part of our diphtheria, the bacilli, which is a rod-sized bacteria. Not sure. Be curious to know. So this is just not anything you have to write down. Just remember that there's singular and there's plural. Some of you who are trying to kind of keep up with this is coccus and cocci, or cocci rather. Bacillus, bacilli. So there is a singular and a plural. So don't get too wrapped up in this. Just know your basic ones: round, rod, and spherical. And you're good for your State Board. Okay, some bacterial infections. Okay, let's write down the word infection. And you can shorten this a little bit. When body tissues are invaded, and there's a sign of pus. Body systems are invaded and pus is present. Body systems are invaded and a sign of pus. Now the next one, I can tell you this one is on the State Board. General infection. That means bloodstream. So a local infection is limited to a boil or a pimple. That would be an example. But general infection, bloodstream. Okay? All parts of the body. Bloodstream is general, all parts of the body. So there are, I'm going to write that down for y'all. 2 types of infection. Local and general. Local and general. Local is a boil or a pimple, and general is bloodstream. I have to read it backwards. Corona is Latin for crown, so the actual virus is a sphere. Oh, wow. So it's a cocci family, huh? Okay, good to know. What you need to know on this one is acute. I wish I had a pencil. Here we go. Acute, just know that it's severe. So those of you, I'm going to circle it. Acute, meaning severe. Yes, I can hold up the definition again. You want that one for general? Oh, meow, meow, meow. Oh my gosh. I was wondering if my dogs were going to be. Where do you find a like button? Oh, it's a little thumbs up thing. It looks like a thumbs up. So acute means severe. Okay. Allergy, write down the next one is allergy. Allergy is sensitivity to harmless substances. So we just don't really feel well when we have allergies. And some of you I know have gone through a lot of testing at different dermatologist offices to find out if you are allergic to ragweed or you're allergic to. So a pimple with pus is infection. Yes, a sign of infection. So Melina, real quick, I'll give you that information. It is not on my screen. Oh, that's weird. Okay, so Melina, real quick, and we went over this a little bit with the estheticians in histology last week, but real quick, if here is the follicle, here's the skin, the outside of the skin, here's the hair. This tube-like depression is called our follicle. This is the bulb, and this is the hair. When we have so much oil production right here feeding into the follicle, this guy pushes out and gets real inflamed and infected. So then we get that gross white on the top that shows infection. So that means dirt, debris, and stuff have been caught from that large pore. Or maybe they touched themselves with some form of something that came off of a table and they touched their face or something, and then that follicle got infected. And so, yes, pus is a local infection. It is a sign of infection. That means that poor little follicle, he is drowning in infection and he's swollen and doesn't feel good. Okay. Chronic disease. So we have acute and chronic. Long duration. Some people have chronic allergies that lead to bronchitis because all of that phlegm, those allergies and such, is chronic for them. So chronic disease, long duration. It could be mild, but they just have to deal with it all the time. So chronic meaning they have to deal with it. I hope I'm not going too fast. Congenital. These are big words for some people with English as their second language, so y'all just hold on tight. But congenital, disease that exists at birth. Sinus infections, yes. Chronic. A disease that exists at birth. Okay. This word is always one of those words that's hard to spell. You hate it because you can't hardly spell it, but I did spell it right this time for you guys. Contraindication. It's got that word train in the middle. That's actually right. I mean, that word is right. Contraindication. A condition or disease that makes it an indicated treatment or medication inadvisable. So I just put myself some little side notes here. For example, if someone has a contraindication, you're doing a massage, maybe Erica's doing a massage on someone, and there's an area that she needs to avoid and not apply any pressure on that area or any massage. That's a certain area that she wants to try to avoid. In some cases, surgery is not going to be beneficial for someone who's aging. Maybe they don't want to do surgery on that person because they are very old and maybe they have some contraindications that would not be suitable for them. So some physical conditions that might put people at risk or danger. There's also some medications that some people cannot take when they get a little older because those two medications won't work well together and they'll cause more harm than they would good. Diagnosis. Determination of the nature of the disease from its symptoms. Like finding a reason for back pain or finding a reason for a method of treating anxiety disorders. That's a diagnosis. I don't know if I'm going too fast for y'all. Epidemic. This one's probably self-explanatory. So an epidemic right here is the outbreak, but a pandemic is greater range of the epidemic. So a pandemic is the greater area, a larger, broader spectrum of people. But epidemic is kind of a local outbreak. So that word is a lot scarier for all of us right now. And I guess we never realized how much we would understand that word now in our lifetime. Diagnosis, sure. That doesn't produce anything, and if he has chronic nosebleeds, and it's due to the dry air. So if you're having nosebleeds or dry air or that kind of thing, it's also fantastic for our skin for moisturizing purposes. I've been doing a lot of reading about the vaporizer next to the bed at night. It's pretty cool, and they've got some really expensive ones that might happen to be something that that might help some other people out there. Yes, Sam, everything that I'm having you write down would be, and they hit you really hard. I know that people have taken the exam right now will tell you they hit you hard on the state board questions on the written. So the fact that we're doing this chapter and getting it out of the way, it's going to help y'all. So yes. Etiology, I do know this one's going to be on there. Had a little typo right there. That is the study of the causes of disease and their mode of operation. On this one, I'm going to underline this one so that you don't have to write the whole thing unless you can write kind of fast or you're taking a picture. Inflammation, characterized by redness, heat, pain, and swelling. So anytime these are some symptoms, we know we have some inflammation going on, and we know that we probably need to be seen by someone because it could be getting worse, could be showing signs of infection. We might need an antibiotic. So redness, heat, pain, and swelling. Thank you, Alexis. Oh, good. I'm glad y'all like the pace. It's slower than what we would do at school, but I don't know if there's a time delay and such, but. And then I'm going to be going through all of the state board multiple choice questions. Molly will be doing that with y'all on the weekend, going through the state board questions as if you're doing the multiple choice with her to prepare for that. So that will be Saturday and Sunday. You know, these words objective and subjective, they get so confusing. I think we went over subjective yesterday. Here's objective. Symptoms that are visible, such as pimples, pustules, inflammation. I'll put it back up again, but I'm going to put right here, this would be a local infection. So it's objective. I don't know, the estheticians might be hit with this one. I don't think the cosmetologists or the nail technicians would be hit with this question, but you Estes, you probably could be. Lauren, you sticking with me here?
Yes.
Okay. Yesterday we went over occupational disease. That's where we're exposed to different chemicals and tints and such at our work environment. So we went over that one yesterday. We went over the pathogenic disease. We covered those. This one we did not go over, but so a pathologist, wouldn't it be kind of cool to be a pathologist? To really investigate. You'd have to be pretty good at biology, I'm assuming, and math and all of those things. So I appreciate these people who have brains like that. So that it's the study and the investigation of the functions and changes in the structure caused by disease. Pretty in-depth, pretty amazing. But those people probably couldn't do a good haircut, but they can certainly do their math and their science. So we talked about diagnosis, and now we have prognosis. Those are two different ones, and for some people, vocabulary terms can be difficult because there's so many in this chapter. But prognosis, that's the foretelling of the probability of the course at which that, you know, are your allergies going to get better once you start avoiding A, B, C, and D? What's the prognosis of avoiding that? What is your prognosis when you start taking a medication to maybe help with something that you're dealing with? So what does the future look like? That's our prognosis. I think we went over seasonal disease. That's going to be like your flu, your common cold, your norovirus, cold sores, seasonal disease. I think we went over that already. And here is that subjective. So we have objective and subjective. Estheticians, make sure that you know these two words, subjective and objective. So this one's the subjective, itching, burning, and pain. So subjective is what you're going to feel, and objective is what you're going to see. So this one is what you will see. I'm going to give y'all a few more and then we're going to take a break. Okay, so we have hepatitis, a disease marked by inflammation of the liver caused by blood-borne virus. So it's a blood-borne virus from the inflammation of the liver. So it is systemic. Now I'm going to tell you the difference between A, B, and C. I'll put A and B up here together. So hepatitis A, symptoms feel like the flu, yellowing of the eyes. Hepatitis B, illness with long treatment, like cirrhosis of the liver and cancer. So A is more mild. For some reason it says on my computer, unable to connect to chat. Please try again later. Wonder why. I'm assuming y'all are still there. Molly, can you try to chat, or Alana or somebody who's there? Let me see if I can see anything roll up. Because if y'all have questions, then I don't have any idea. You tried it, Lauren? Yeah. Okay. It says unable to connect. That's so weird. Can y'all see my hi? Can you see my hi, Lauren? Yeah. Okay. That's weird. Hepatitis C, illness that can progress slowly. About a third of those with the illness do not have symptoms. So weird why I can't see y'all's chats. Is anyone chatting there for me and asking me questions, Lauren?
People said I see you and hear you.
Okay. When we take a little break, I'll try to fix it. I do know that you need to know what HIV stands for. They'll try to trick you. So those of you who don't know what the acronym, that you know the acronym, but you don't know the wording, it's human immunodeficiency virus. So make sure you write that down. And then we're almost done. I'm going to give you all a break from all the writing. This is just a recap. Remember our parasites, vegetable, they can be vegetable or animal. And remember they nourish from the host. So we've talked about that yesterday. We may have not gone over this one. I wanted to make sure you got this one. Fungi. It is a plant parasite or vegetable. It's things like mold, mildew, and yeast. And that is, again, remember that the ringworm is not a worm, that the ringworm is a vegetable parasite. So it's not an actual worm. And you do have to have a medical treatment to clear it. I think we have two more. I'm going to hold up both of these. And that will conclude that, and then we'll take a break. Immunity and natural immunity versus acquired. So immunity is the ability of the body to destroy any bacteria that have gained. So that means you're probably taking your vitamin C, your vitamin D, taking your vitamins, you're keeping yourself healthy, you're getting enough sleep. And then our natural versus acquired. Okay, good job. I am gonna put y'all on mute. Right now, it is 2:38. I'll see y'all back at 2:58. And I'm gonna put on mute and see if I can get my chat going. Vicky, I hope you got that. I saw your comment, or Lauren told me. Took it off mute now. I don't remember what time I told y'all to come back. Seems like it's 2:58 right now. It's 2:51. Don't remember. Hi, Angel. Hi, Angel. My angel baby. Yes. My angel baby, aren't you? Yes, you are. Okay, it's 2:53. Wow, that's going slower than I thought. Y'all could start by writing this one on here, cross-contamination. When you touch an object before you sanitize and touch or come into contact with your client, that's our cross-contamination. Yeah, we're on a little break, huh? We're just on a break. Come here, Cappy. Oh, baby, come on. Y'all want to see my dog? This is Cappy. You just want to look at the screen. He's my sweet guy. And my other one is in the other room. They're both Havanese dogs. They're just so cute. He's a little love, aren't you, honey? Oh, mommy loves you so much. Yes. Yes, I do. You want to sit right here? We'll sit in Dad's chair. Want to sit right there? Yeah, you go. You can sit right there. You want to show everybody how long your hair is? See how long your hair is? Okay, sit right there. Lie down. Lie down now. There you go. Good baby. Good baby. You're so good boy. If you pick up your head, they can see you. Yeah. Okay, here we go. Let's see. It is 2:58, right on target. Okay, cross-contamination. When you touch an object before you sanitize, and then you're coming into contact and touching another person. So if I pick up this sweaty, wet bottle, and then I just kind of wipe my hands here on my clothing like that, and I kind of get ready, and then I don't use my hand gel sanitizer, then I'm not doing a very good job of protecting my clients. So we often see in so many places, people walk into the work environment, we have a messy area. We're maybe not doing our best to protect the community, but I think after this outbreak and everything, I think we're going to have some higher standards that we're probably going to push us even harder. In my opinion, we'll probably see some crackdown on that. So the hand gel sanitizer is going to be something that y'all are going to have to make sure that you're providing at the school when we get back in the building. And you want to make sure that you're following protocol on the different levels of sanitation, sterilization, and disinfection, which Kimberly talked a little bit about today. So here, you can just look at this for a second. Hopefully y'all can see it. So direct contact, and then there's indirect contact. So the direct contact is your sneezing, your coughing, your touching, and breathing on people. And that's why there's a lot of people out there that want their space. They want you to back up a little bit. Maybe you stand a little too close, and it can be off-putting for some people because they really don't want to be that closely to you for fear of infection or contamination. And then our indirect contact, this is our dirty tools and floors and products maybe that have been, let me give you an example on that. If I'm going to open up my cleanser or my moisturizer or my products that I'm going to deal with, and I touch the top of the bottle, which state board does not allow us to the hand can't come into contact with the bottle. For example, if I have my hydrogen peroxide here, it hasn't been open, but if I were to touch it like this directly to my hands, I've now contaminated that. So I know that seems like it's a minute detail, but what we're going through now, we're seeing that this is an important step to our everyday living, as just washing our hands and not putting our hands directly on bottles and tops of any sort, from our hair gels to our creams and cosmetic creams that we use for the nail services and the skincare services. So this cross-contamination is going to definitely be something that we're going to have to be more mindful of. We're seeing it today in the grocery stores. People are taking care of themselves by washing their hands. They're wearing gloves. They're making sure that they're not coming into contact and passing things along. And we're seeing how very serious it can be. So cleaning and tidying up your area is going to help fight against a lot of things, just a whole lot of things, just like this. It's going to help us fight impetigo, estheticians, very contagious, ringworm, like we've mentioned, and then head lice, just passing those viruses and those diseases along from one person to another. So that cross-contamination is real important. I know that sometimes when we go through drive-thrus, we'd like to get rid of some of the trash in our car. And as you'll notice, people who work at some of these drive-thrus, they don't want your trash, and they're not allowed to take your trash and put it into the garbage because that's cross-contamination. They are touching your throwaways, even if it's a Starbucks paper cup. You cannot ask those people to give that to you. Pass it through the window and toss it away for you. Therefore, you can pull up a little bit, and sometimes there's provided garbage disposals that you can go in and take. You can toss those things outside out of your car window by pulling up past the drive-through window and coming into contact with people. Molly or Alana, or whoever is doing roll call, I know there's 2 or 3 of you. Oh, my clock is slow. Okay, thank you. All right. I don't know if you want to make sure that you're getting attendance. Okay. All right. There's one other thing I need to make sure that y'all get that I know is on the state board, and we did not talk about it yesterday. And I'm going to make sure I mention that to you. It's called Saprophyte. SAPROPYPHYTES. It's non-pathogenic bacteria that live on dead matter. That was supposed to be under your non-pathogenic type of bacteria, and they do not produce disease. Am I out of the way? Okay. Kimberly made a really good triangle this morning. That triangle was the 3 levels of cleanliness, okay? Of decontamination, 3 levels of decontamination. The first one, the lowest level, is sanitation. So you hairstylists, you cannot go out there and take your hairbrush that's been used, pull the hair out, and go immerse it into your EPA solution and then rinse it off. That's a huge no-no. That would, we want to prep those tools and materials. First, wash them with hot, soapy, warm water, and then clean them off real good. Then immerse them for a full 10 minutes, and then you've completed your lowest level of sanitation, okay? So I want to talk about this. I'm going to hold this up. I'm sorry the print is kind of small. Maybe you can take a picture, or maybe you can just jot down a few important things. I'll let you know what you should jot down, but not all of it is specific for your notes or taking a test for board. But method 1 is our sanitation. Okay, I've already mentioned in bullet 1, it's our lowest level. It's not effective to kill or remove any spores. It's just the basic. It's going to retard the growth of the bacteria. So it's just preventative. It's a cleaning step that's going to remove dirt from the tools. So we want to get the dirt, we want to get all of that off. For example, I asked my husband the other day, I said, Randy, the table outside needs cleaning, the pollen's everywhere. He took a hot, warm, soapy rag first and wiped it down. And then he went through with his Windex to clean it off or whatever afterwards. But he had to clean it off first. You don't just spray Windex on it and start cleaning it with that type of, I guess you could call that like a viricide. It's probably got some kind of viricide in it if it's a glass cleaner. But anyway, the point is you don't just start smearing that in there. You want to wipe it down first, okay? Our next bullet there is it's going to help prevent the risk of infection, keeping it clean. Must be done before step 2. So this is step 1. Hand washing is the most powerful step in prevention of infection. Now, antiseptic in this category, this is wrong right here. I meant to put not antiseptic. I was thinking about antiseptic. This right here needs to be, hold on, not antiseptic. This whole thing needs to go in the next line, so I'm going to cross it out for y'all. What I wanted y'all to see is this one, right? Okay. Oops, why did this pop up? Let me see here. I got something in the middle of my screen. There we go. Uh-oh. Okay. Rubbing alcohol is sanitation at a 99%. The 99% is sanitation. The 70% is going to be disinfection. That's going to be our next one. But rubbing alcohol with a 99% isopropyl alcohol, this one with the 99% versus the 70%, it contains denatured, which denatured means that they have altered the natural qualities of the 70%, maybe adding more water. Some of these types of products that are denatured have nice smells to them, like Fabuloso and stuff. And just remember that an astringent here is not the same. Astringents are used to contract the skin, so they are not a step of sanitation. Hand washing, soap and water, those are types of sanitation precautions. Okay. We just, whatever information you want to put on there, there's not a whole lot on there for the board. For state board on that part is that our lowest level decontamination for state board is sanitation, okay? Hand washing. Antiseptics, on the other hand, now an antiseptic, it can be used to kill and retard and prevent the growth of bacteria. However, they're still not classified as a disinfectant. So it's a low level. It does contract the skin, but it's a very low level. So like sea breeze back in the day when we used sea breeze a whole lot, that was after we did extractions. We want to contract the skin, and sea breeze was applied to the skin like a form of a toner to contract the skin and keep the bacteria from invading it. A lot of times now the Tesla current, which is violet ray, or the high frequency, that's another term for those, are used to close that and contract the skin to keep bacteria out. So an antiseptic is not a disinfectant. So make sure that you understand that. Oh, wow. Impetigo, yeah, oof, it's terrible. Okay. Disinfection. Okay, this is our second one. Is the second level. Hope that's not too confusing for y'all. Okay, it's a higher level of decontamination. It is second to sterilization, and it's going to be used on our non-porous surfaces. Okay, we're talking toilets, we're talking dispensary, we're talking wax beds, pedicure basins, vanities at the styling station, counter at the front desk, in the reception area, floors, bathroom sinks, So this is disinfection. So it's the highest level. I mean, second highest level. So that's what you need to know for your test. First level is sanitation. Second level, disinfection. So let's go over some bullet points on this one. Again, you don't need to write all of this down. Just listening and writing down what's important to you is sufficient. It is not sporicidal, but it is a bactericide that kills bacteria. So it's gonna kill it, but it's not gonna kill the spore, the ones that are covered with the spores. I think my dog wants it. They will kill all microorganisms except the spores with a waxy coating. There are a few that will kill spores with prolonged exposure, which means 3 to 12 hours. And these are some different chemical preparations that are very, probably very, very dangerous and hazardous. Because if it's going to kill that spore, which I don't know what kind of chemical preparation that'd be, probably diatomaceous earth or something like that. These are disinfections. We don't want to use them on the skin, only our floors and our surfaces and our tools. Examples of these would be a viricide. So when you go to state board, you do need to know that viricide, fungicide, bactericide, sporicide, and tuberculoside, that those are disinfectants. Those are not sanitizing agents. And that's not a form of sterilization. So viricide, fungicide, a bactericide, anything with a side on the end of it is a disinfectant. It's going to be our household bleach. That's going to be Mr. Clean. That's going to be Lysol. That's going to be things like that that will kill viruses. Now look at this one. This is a great one right here for all of us because it's very economical. So if you're a salon owner or you're practicing good hygiene and cleanliness, the isopropyl alcohol is fantastic. It's fantastic for the mirrors in the work environment too, because the evaporation time is so fast that you don't get the smearing that you get with EPA tuberculosidal solutions, that the drying time is so slow that it fogs and all of that stuff. So get yourself cases and cases of 70% isopropyl alcohol and keep that in the salons, and that does a great job. And it's not going to bleach out your clothes either. And it's nice and economical, especially for us. And it's also great because it produces a lot less vapor, limited odor, and toxic fumes, and it's economical. Any of these disinfectants, you want to make sure that you mix them as the manufacturer directions for the most effective. Because if you're buying some of these and you're not mixing it up according to the way they want it to do, you might not be even making a very big difference other than a psychological feeling of cleanliness. Avoid the skin coming into contact with these. I know I love Clorox bleach. I have cleaned my whole life. My hands have come into contact with a lot of these, and I know it's not good for me. I know I need to start practicing using gloves. I really do. It's hard for me to do. I guess I think I'm invincible to some degree, but it is dangerous and hazardous chemicals that are drinking into our skin. Keeping them in a cool, dry place. Last night, I wanted to put some citronella in my my little lamplight outside for a few minutes, and it didn't work. I couldn't get it going. But anyway, I just remembered I left it out in this 90-degree weather today, and I had to go move it. Some of these things are flammable, so make sure that you're keeping in the. That's why so many times they're underneath the kitchen sink, unless we have toddlers in the house, and then we have a new place to find those, store those items. Efficacy. If you don't know what this word means, I encourage you to write it down. It might be a tough word for some people in their vocabulary because it's a tricky little word that we don't use a whole lot. But I think it's on the state board, and for those of you who've taken the state board, you can probably vouch for me. It is when you're checking your labels for the effectiveness. How effective is that disinfectant solution? And anyone that's out there, I'm not able to check and see the chat. So Hope you guys are paying attention and still participating. My chat is still not working. Hopefully it'll work better tomorrow. All right, estheticians, ears up, especially, and people who have acne, people who have scar tissue on their face from acne. So we love the way, and there's a lot of studies that we love the way hydrogen peroxide, this guy right here. Lots of people love it because it's got some controversial conversation about the effectiveness on acne and slowing it down. And I think they're now realizing it could, well, I'll have you read it, but hydrogen peroxide, H2O2. It's used as a disinfectant. So this guy right here, he's a wonderful disinfectant, okay? Not like 99% isopropyl, like the 70% isopropyl. So this one and 70% isopropyl can do a good job. But pertaining to the skin, I hope it's not too blurry, everybody. It's used as a disinfectant, having antibacterial use. It has amazing acne fighting capabilities by killing bacteria. You know, all of that acne, a lot of times there's a lot of pus and infection when you're dealing with acne on your skin, but it does great for drying up that sebum. But keep in mind, you can also damage the fibroblasts. And estheticians, we talked a little bit about the fibroblasts, and those are those spider-looking things that go out there and help fight disease. And so you damage those guys in the skin that make up the connective tissue down there in the dermal layer that actually that are repairing the wounds. So those fibroblasts go in there and they fight for the skin when it has been compromised. So this is actually maybe slowing down the process of the healing. And there's been studies showing that it does lead to scarring. So it can irritate your healthy cells. So rinsing the wounds can be more effective than using the hydrogen peroxide. Or you might want to just dilute, or after you use the hydrogen peroxide on a cut or on the skin, then or dilute it, or just rinse it right away. So it is controversial for treatment of the skin. It's recommended to dilute the skin with water, 3 tablespoons to 1 tablespoon of peroxide, and then rinse again with water after use. You can actually get a blister from this too. So rinsing it is definitely something we'd want to do. In some cases, when we apply it to an open wound, it can block the blood flow, and then it can be fatal. So again, these are just things that we didn't really know, or that maybe you didn't know about hydrogen peroxide. So it's really best to stick with peroxide. This guy is really best just to use for cleaning purposes too. So that would be a better use, I should say. Some of the other preparations for the skin and acne, the benzoyl peroxide and salicylic acids, those are used in preparation from your dermatologist to treat acne that seem to assist in people with acne. And this type of disinfectant right here, you can do some reading on it. Those are the ones that we use at the school. I know for the nail technicians, they have Let's Touch and Let's Dance. Those are different types of disinfectant solutions at RDA and such that can be poured down the sink, that can be poured in the commode and disposed of. But those are allowing us to leave them in those buckets for 14 days, and it's still effective. And they're non-toxic to the skin. And that's what we have at the beauty school. And those are called AHP, Accelerated Hydrogen Peroxide. So I don't know really its chemical composition, but those have been developed and are not going to bleach out our clothes and such. Melina, yes, you can use this on the skin. Just be cautious and rinse it with water after use. A lot of times, I think in the old days, we thought just pour the whole bottle on the skin and oh my goodness, it'll clean the wound out really good. And I think we weren't really taught well as children. We were probably doing this, and then we were putting iodine, and then we were putting a Band-Aid. So who knows if we were doing everything right, and that's where we kind of need to just do our research. But I think a lot of people back in the 60s and 70s were drying up the oil in their skin using alcohol and hydrogen peroxide. I know my dad was using a lot of alcohol on his face. He does have some scarring from acne. And I remember as a kid, him even into his 30s and 40s, he was still drying up his sebum with the alcohol. And then it may have led to some of that scarring. So sea breeze would probably be better to contract the skin with. Very important to make sure that we read how to dispose of it properly. Guys, OSHA may walk into your building one day, and especially now after this coronavirus, and we're going to talk about OSHA in a minute, but they may walk right into your building and want to know if you're pouring, what you're pouring down the drains and how you're disposing of your disinfectant solutions. The ones right here that I was talking about for the salons, these AHP ones, those can be disposed down drains and such. There are like acetone, for example, that the nail technicians use to dip their nails, the acrylic nails, and remove the nail enhancements from the nail. Acetone, if you'll try it one day, it's not supposed to be poured down a drain. It's supposed to be put into the trash. But if you leave it in a bowl with completely open, it'll turn into one small, like a thin piece of tissue, almost like a perm end wrap. And it will, then that little piece of paper, you just toss it away. So we're not supposed to be pouring those types of things. Extremely hazardous. If any of you haven't had the opportunity to watch the movie Dark Waters, it's a true story. Randy and I and Lauren watched it the other night. She enjoyed it, even as a 18-year-old. She enjoyed it very much. And it's about the true story of a rancher in West Virginia who has a 12th grade education, and he changed the world because he brought down DuPont. So the whole movie is fabulous. So if you want a good movie to watch, I think it'd be awesome for you to watch it. It really tells us the dangers of what gets into our water, and that was happening right here in the U.S. in the I think it was 1970 that happened. It's a true story, and it's fascinating and wonderful, and also very sad what it did to people's teeth and all of that and their health. So it's a great movie. It's called Dark Waters. All right, it's on Netflix. It just came out of the theaters. We just watched it. So bleach. Well, we're going to talk about bleach now. Bleach is a great source, but it does not remove grime and grease. So you're going to have to use some of those other preparations that really get the grease off. Bleach is just going to wipe out the bacteria. But if you've got grease deposits and stuff that really need attention, you got to clean first and use those degreaser type preparations that are disinfectants, and then go over it with your bleach if you want. But please never mix anything ever with bleach, y'all. It's extremely hazardous. You don't want to combine these products together, and the vapor, if you're cleaning alone in the house one day and you have too many vapors going on, be very, very careful. We wouldn't want you to have a fainting spell or need emergency help. So be careful of mixing it. Please don't underestimate the power of bleach. And remember that TDLR, if you're going to use Clorox as your disinfectant, it's a great one, fantastic for the salon because it is cheap. It's extremely economical, like our alcohol, but TDLR does require that it's a 5% bleach. And the technical term for, at State Board, the technical term for bleach is, and you need to know this for your board, it's called sodium, and I promise it's on the test, hypochlorite. And this is called household bleach. And it doesn't just mean Clorox, that's just a name. Like making a copy is a Xerox machine, but Xerox is a company. Clorox is a company. Sodium hypochlorite. Hopefully y'all can read that. If not, I have it right here. And here's the mixtures that they want at State Board. Hopefully y'all can read that. It's 9 parts of water to 1 part bleach. You can use this. If you own a salon and you do not want to spend $100 on those those other ones, those AHP ones, for gallons of that, they are quite expensive. Bleach is a whole lot less expensive. I don't know if this ratio right here would bleach out black clothing or not. It probably would. So you would have to let everyone know, but you could use household bleach and make this preparation. Again, don't mix it with any other chemicals at all. So be safe about it. Okay. For those of you who need to know, soaking time. So at the beauty school, when we're back in the building, soaking time at the back bar when you are soaking your combs, your brushes, and everything that you are going to use and come into contact with your clients and each other for that matter. It's a 10-minute soaking period that we're doing that, and it's completely submerged. That might be on the state board right there. They might try to trick you and say, I don't know how they would answer it, question it, but they will completely submerge it. Keep in mind that Clorox can rust, so if you're using your expensive tweezers, your Comedone extractors, your nippers, your Tweezermans, and all of those items, you want to make sure that you know that Clorox can rust those tools. So can a quat. I'm going to put this up to the screen so you can write down the word quat. A quat is a quaternary ammonium compound. It's extremely effective. You can buy these at Sally Beauty Supply online. I personally feel like these are carcinogenic, and back in the 50s and 60s, salons were using these, and I was in contact with them early in my education in the late 80s, and I just don't feel good about them. But keep in mind, if you're asked on a test, a quat is a quaternary ammonium compound. It can come in a tablet form, and then comes in like a bottle and in a tablet form. And I don't know if it's cancer causing, but I'm scared of it. But if you wanted to do some research, because it might be a more economical version for you, for your use in the salon, then by all means, take a peek and read up on it. And then a Phenolic Disinfectant. This is a new one that has come into the textbooks, and I'm almost certain I'm pronouncing it right based on the based on the way it sounded out. Phenolic Disinfectant. It's a type of tuberculocidal form of formaldehyde. This one we know is carcinogenic. So if you see that one in any of your ingredient list, scary. So I don't know, I would stay away from it. Okay, so now I want to show you another image. Estheticians, nail technicians, and hairstylists with cutting tools. This ultraviolet lamp, this UV lamp, they're nice, and they do more like a disinfection type of light. But don't confuse this one with steaming. This is not the ultimate sterilization. Just because there's this pretty glow of a light, these two right here are still the Barbicide. I'll talk about that one. And then the ultraviolet UV ray. It's not the type of ray that we need to kill the spores. So you are disinfecting, which is awesome. So after it's immersed in the EPA solution, or the disinfectant solution for 10 minutes, then you rinse and you dry it. Then you could store them in this UV area. And but just keep in mind, it's not sterilization. Barbicide has long been this solution that it's an oldie, and you would normally see these containers of glass containers with, it looks like a French press, and you pull it up and then it's filled with this blue liquid. That is a disinfectant solution. The problem with this one that the state started having so much trouble with is there were a lot of barbers and hairstylists just throwing their comb inside of there before they did their sanitation step. So important that you do your sanitation step and then you can put your comb in there. So when TDLR would come in, the inspectors would raise it up, there'd be all of this hair and, hate to say it, but even nails and cuticle trimmings and such at the bottom of the jar, because people would just use the tool, throw it in the container, and they thought that they had done their job. So the job is step 1, we sanitize, step 2, we disinfect, and then on our metal tools, we can take it a step further, and then we can do our boiling, baking, steaming. Okay, how are we looking on time? 3:32. Sterilization. We're almost done. Sterilization, it's our highest level of decontamination. It destroys every bacteria, germ, and microbe. Okay, I'm gonna write it over here. So sterilization, number 3. And this is the highest level. So we want to make sure, we want to feel safe when we go to the dentist or we're getting our teeth pulled or something. We want to make sure that when those tools are entering our mouth, that we want to feel certain that the surgeons that provide surgery for us and those types of procedures that are going on, and those top professionals, that they're taking top care of us and making sure that they are sterilizing these tools. Very, very important. So sterilization, highest level of decontamination. So let's recap here a second. First, it's sanitation, just washing our hands, wash them real good, all the way up to the wrist, dry them really good, hot soapy warm water. We do this on our tools, combs, brushes, sponges, nail tools and materials, everything. And then we disinfect, immersing them. How many minutes? 10 minutes. And then we use the right disinfection that we want to. We make sure we choose the disinfectant that can be poured down the drain and not infecting our waters and our earth and our land. And then if we want to take it to the sterilization level, then these are some methods of sterilization. Some of these I don't know what they mean. So I'm just going to, the last 2 I don't know, but I'm just going to hold it up here. These are some methods of sterilization. Autoclave. Guys, these autoclaves are anywhere from $600 to $2,000. Very, very, very pricey. You can buy them on Amazon. So if your salon that you're working for is not doing this, and maybe you don't want to get a fine or something, I don't know. It's going to be time that the schools invest in more and update them to knowing what we know now. Dry heat sterilization, so that's going to be different from the UV. And then it does say UV irradiation, but I'm a little unclear if that UV, not a towel cabbie, but you know, the unit, the purple light, I don't know if it's enough. And then boiling, of course, is going to happen when they go into that autoclave. And then I don't know what these other 2 are, guys. Oh, fumigation. So fumigation, that would be that carcinogenic phenolic. Oh, y'all, we had those, the fumigation in beauty school, and we were exposed to it. And oh, it was so, looking back now, just knowing that how pungent and toxic those fumes were. So I like the autoclave, I think that's my favorite one. You don't necessarily need to write this down, but you just might want to revamp here, or recap rather. The process of completely destroying all microbial life and their spores. Steaming penetrates the spore and coats the bacteria. Wet heat is used in salons, such as our autoclave. And then important, if you become a salon owner, you might want to make sure that people are logging when they did this and when the procedures were all taken. Sorry about that. When these procedures are being done and when you did it and how many, just sign off. That way you're showing OSHA and the state that you're taking care of that. Okay, speaking of OSHA, here we go. Only thing you need to write down for OSHA is what OSHA stands for, so that when you're on a test, they don't transpose these words and get you all confused and call it something different. It's Occupational Safety, Health, Administration. One of my brand new students who just graduated esthetician, she opened up her own place in Colleen. Very sweet girl, very excited for her. She texted me and she said, Wendy, I can't remember what you said about the material safety data sheets. And then she said, I cannot find out how to get those sheets. I'm going to show you what one looks like. But anyway, I gave her the information and she's all excited. And she got what she needed. So she's doing what she needs to do as a business owner for herself. And I'm very proud of her for that. Occupational Safety and Health Administration. So Msds Sheets, you need to know this for your board. You need to know that this acronym right here means Material Safety Data Sheets. And I'm going to show you what one looks like. Every single product that you have in your building, every single product, liquid paper, anything that is pourable, nail color, detergent, Windex, liquid detergent, palm olive, spray bubbles for your toilet, even, the things that we take for granted that we use all the time, like Clorox, any single, all the shampoos, all the conditioners, the hair gels. Even though we do not think that there's anything in there that could hurt us, we are required to keep a notebook. So at the schools, we have this notebook. It's about this thick, and it's bulging. We need to work on getting it tidied up. But every single product, this is OPI, for example. This is a material safety data sheet, and this is on nail color. It's a pourable material, so therefore we have to have it. Everyone who manufactures a product that's pourable has to provide this to you free of charge. There's a phone number on the product itself, or you can log onto the website and request it, and it will be delivered to your mailbox. They may, at this point, start emailing them. I don't know. It'd be nice to just do it on an email and not have to worry about an actual notebook. But in the event someone had some type of problem in the salon, you are supposed to provide the client with one of these. Let's say they got some substance in their eye. Maybe it was an eye cream or a chemical peel, or maybe something sprayed in just a fume or something. So this is something that you need to store in your salons. So maybe if you're an employee, maybe you want to help somebody. Maybe you want to help take some of the responsibility from that salon owner and say, hey, would you like for me to be in charge of getting the material safety data sheets and organizing those for you? Be something for new talent people to offer to help when you have slow times, just trying to gain your clientele. Okay. That is, let's see, that's about all I have, other than I wanted to talk about Clorox for a second. Now that we start kind of wondering what's in here, and you know, we know that these fumes are toxic. When you start reading about these different agents and stuff, I'll just read a couple of things. This says it repels grease and grime. So if it repels it, that doesn't mean to me it's removing it. To me, it's bouncing off of it. So that tells me again that we have to clean first because it's not going to be a grease and grime diffuser. Kills norovirus, flu virus, MRSA, E. coli, and salmonella. Okay. Cleans and protects surfaces, kills 99.9% of the percent of the germs. Talks about how it's danger, it's corrosive. First aid if you get it into the eyes, and what you should do. It's got poison control on there. Staphylococcus, salmonella, rhinovirus, flu, feline virus, flu. Then you get over here, I saw, ingredients. This is what's crazy. Sodium hypochlorite, 6.0. So this would not be the formula that state board would require. It has to be the 5%. And I've seen that before. So the 6%, other ingredients, 94.0%, but it doesn't list those for us. And then that gives us a total of 100%. So in other words, we don't know what those other 94% of the ingredients are in here. Isn't that crazy? We don't even know. So what if there is a carcinogenic product in there? So I don't know. I just find that a little crazy. And as much as I love this product, I guess it's a psychological thing. I just feel like it's doing its job. So they sometimes recommend that vinegar would be better and lemon. Some of these more gentle, less alkaline products. We know that vinegar is less alkaline, safer for our skin. So, but I think we all need to get used to diluting this a little bit more, because maybe we are using this too wasteful, and maybe we're catching too many fumes, and maybe we're harming our lungs. This whole corrosive thing and such, and hazards to human and domestic animals, and the disposal. I mean, I guess it's time that we all start reading our labels a little bit more, including myself. We just get busy in our lives, and we just get to going, and here we go. So yeah. So keeping ourselves safe. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave this on now until 4 o'clock. And y'all got that. Hopefully, I'm going to try to copy and paste again. Your assignment is to read. Let me see if it'll work. See, I can chat to y'all, but I can't see y'all's chats. Hope to fix that tomorrow. Grab that link and look at it and read that article. It may really help some of y'all with sulfates and questions like that. It may be good. We are pretty much closing down this chapter. It's gone much faster than I thought. So I'm going to go through it with a fine-tooth comb in both My Lady and Pivot Point to make sure that I have gotten all the information that's necessary for you to be able to pass the board. And then we'll do some more exercises. Tonight with Katie, again, it's going to be another recap of this information and seeing what you obtained, so that you can do a little practice test for yourself and see if you're remembering what we just went over. I hope it's not too boring for you guys. Hopefully, I'm really hoping that we can get Denise Bell to do a live performance of her hydrotherapy facial. She's agreed to do that for us. So maybe next week, that could be something we look forward to, seeing some different procedures and such. But we did have to get through all of this anyway. So it's a good thing that we did. And we'll go over the multiple choice questions that come from both the My Lady textbook and the Pivot Point textbook, so that you could be a little more familiar with the content of questions that might be asked to be on this. So hopefully you enjoyed it. I enjoyed seeing your names out here. At least I know you're there. Again, love you guys, and y'all have a great evening. I'm gonna leave it on. So sign off for me at 4 o'clock, but I'm gonna mute it for right now. And then, like I said, tonight before bedtime, grab yourself a hot tea or a hot toddy or something, and read that little article on that, so we can go over some talking points tomorrow. Okay, y'all have a good one.